Awesome. I appreciate everybody being here and carving out some time to learn more about the Career Central Suite. And I thought it might be fun for us to get started using our chat feature there in the bottom of your Zoom screen. So if you'll go ahead and open up your chat bubble, and let's start with some introductions, getting to know one another. And you see those directives there on the screen, the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and what your role is there. Because Skills USA serves 130 different occupational areas, it's nice to know who's in the room and what you're teaching. And then if you've got something fun you want to share during this unusual summer, it's nice to hear about maybe something fun that you did. And that could be a new hobby that you've taken up during this time of shelter in place. Or maybe you had a staycation because of all of our restrictions that we have experienced. So Alberta got us started off right. Thanks so much and welcome to our session. As Katie mentioned, I do work for Skills USA at the national office, and my role is to lead professional development for our organization. And I've been a part of career and technical education for over 20 years. So it is my privilege to serve with Skills USA on their education team and to help you explore some resources that you may not be as familiar with as a part of our organization. So it's so good to see a lot of different representation there. I see nursing as well as computers, some admin folks joining us today, vocational rehab counselors. So thanks so much for being here. It looks like people are really enjoying some family bonding and some outdoor activities. I'm admiring Katie's indication that she started gardening again. I've been contemplating that, so you may have just pushed me over the edge there. So I'm super excited to think about gardening again. I haven't done that in a while. So I also want you to drop into the chat now that we've introduced ourselves, considering the business partners in your area and considering the area that you teach or that you administrate, where you serve. What skills do the business and industry partners in your area say are very important for graduates to be career ready? So regardless if you're at secondary or post-secondary level, I'd love to know what your business and industry partners in your community are saying. What are the skills very important for graduates to be career ready? Let's drop those into the chat box there. What are you hearing in terms of career readiness? Some of the things that would rise to the top. I want an employee to be blank. What would it be? Have the skills. Katie says soft skills. Katie, I'd love for you to break that down if some specific elements come to your mind. Thanks, Suzanne. Critical thinking. Yes, I hear that affirmed a lot in trainings, that we don't want our employees just sitting back waiting for someone to tell them what to do next, but that ability for them to think forward as to what would be needed. Again, we see problem solving there. Attendance. You know, we think about something from a very base level, and that would be attendance, that we want our employees to come to work every day, to show up on time, and that they would be ready to work with all of the equipment, that they're dressed appropriately. So yes, I don't want to take away from what might seem as obvious, but attendance, that's really important. And a good attitude. We saw that several places, work ethic and a good attitude. I love this kind of informal survey because for me at the national office, I get the opportunity to hear from people nationwide and hear that we're all saying the same thing. When we talk about many of these skills listed here, whether it's customer service, communication, critical thinking, these are applicable and transferable skills that are needed no matter what our students are going to do next. And so whether they go right into the world of work or choose an apprenticeship program, a 2-year technical or 4-year university, these skills that we've outlined today are just some of the skills that we know will help our students be ready to work. So I'm kind of a nerd about data, and I thought that maybe some of you today might also have that inclination. So I thought it'd be cool to share the results of this survey by Consolidated Survey of Corporate America. These are the skills that were outlined in that research study as very important for high school graduates. So as you take a look at that survey, you can probably see some of the things that you indicated in our unofficial survey. So you've got your reactions down there at the bottom of your screen. You could choose a thumbs up if you see something that you indicated in our unofficial survey via the chat. So we can see those critical thinking called out. We see the creativity, the teamwork, right? So many of you are seeing your results listed there on that screen. Let's take that same survey group, and if you love things like this, you could Google after this session, are they really ready to work? And you could read the full constructs of this survey, okay? So that's where you would find it. Let's take the same survey, same nationwide partners, and now let's see what are very important skills for a 2-year technical school graduate. Take a look. What do you notice right off the bat? Drop it in the chat or unmute yourself if you'd like to share verbally in that way. What are you noticing about this second set of data? I'm going to blip back high school, very important for high school, and now very important for 2-year technical. What's something that jumps out at you? Kay says same top result. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you see a lot of the same skills. Cindy, you took the words right out of my mouth. Absolutely. A lot of the same skills identified there, but perhaps they've just shifted a bit in their order. Take a look at the percentages and how they're changing as well. I'm going to pop one more data slide up for you to take a look at. This time, what are the skills that are very important for the graduate of college graduates? Let's take a look at what we see for college graduates there. Same survey, same partners. Give you a moment to kind of digest that information. Same skills, right? Communication now rose all the way up to the top. It bypassed some of those others that were contending there at the top. And now communication is rising. Something else we see on this survey is that we see the statistics are now higher. At those very important for high school students, that bottom percentage was 36%. And now we see we've got 78%. Why do you think that is? Why are the percentages going up in accordance with very important skills for college graduates? What could that be implying, or what could that tell us about the people who are part of this survey? Any ideas as we are thinking critically? Yes. Cindy, I think so. I think we could make that choice there, that people expect college graduates to be more proficient in these skills. So these are the skills that are important for students to be ready to work. And as they get older, we have an expectation that their experiences have contributed to a greater knowledge and a greater demonstration, right? And so that is where I lead into this infographic. And for those of you familiar with Skills USA, this infographic is probably very familiar to you. We call this our Skills USA framework. And it is the result of business and industry survey and data like what we've seen on the screen this afternoon, as well as by a company called Quintessential Careers. Quintessential Careers asked 1,000 different partners nationwide, what do your employees need to know and be able to do in order to be successful in your company? And these 17 essential elements rose to the top there. So data-driven information there. This is the language that business and industry gave to us. And now we as educators have the ability to help our students understand what our business partners are looking for and how they can begin preparing themselves. And we can use this framework to be very strategic, very intentional about what's happening in our CTE classrooms, right? We know it's important to be data-driven, but it's also important that we provide students the labels for what they're learning. So not only are they going to say, Miss Paulson was a great teacher, she was my favorite teacher, she was so nice, but they might also now be able to say, and in her class, I learned the value of planning, organizing, organizing and management. When I had the opportunity, and they can talk about a project that they did in that classroom, and now they're able to share the transferable skills they learned in your classroom with that potential employer. And this is going to help them to be distinctive. Yes, Kay, absolutely. There'll be a link to this, these images that you're seeing, as well as some brochures. Katie, I think, has already shared those things, and I appreciate you answering that chat for me, Katie. So the Career Essentials Skills USA framework is the foundation for the curriculum that Katie mentioned we wanted to share with you. So with that context of why these skills are important, because they're what employers are looking for, now we can look at what is the opportunity for us to use this tool to teach those skills right alongside our technical curriculum in our CTE programs. So that's the goal of the Career Essentials Suite, to help us help our students be able to define, implement, and measure their career readiness skills. And that framework is what we believe about career readiness. Those are the skills being taught in this curriculum. So kind of a 10,000-foot overview of the curriculum. When we say the Career Essentials Suite, we're talking essentially about 4 courses, and they are age banded. And you can see those age bands on the screen here. An exploratory experience is age 12 to 14. Fundamental experience is 14 to 16. So you might be thinking about the exploratory experience would be appropriate there for a middle school student, is what I would think would be our target audience, possibly a high school freshman. The fundamental experience really specific to the freshmen and sophomores in high school. For your older high school students, you might be thinking about the advanced experience. That would be age banded for the learners 17 to 19. So you'd be thinking about your juniors or seniors in high school. And then for those of you who are working with the post-secondary level, there's an adult learner curriculum, because we wanted to make sure that our adults who need to be working on those, improving their career readiness skills, that they also have a curriculum that is fit for their needs and that feels age appropriate for them in terms of the scenarios and the context of the language. You can see that each of these opportunities has each of these courses has the opportunity for pre and post assessment. So the opportunity for you to get more data. Where does a student start and take the full course, and then how have they grown? And we can measure our students' growth around employability skills, because each of those 17 essential elements, Skills USA has done the heavy lifting of creating competencies. So what a student will know and be able to do after they've completed each of these courses. This curriculum also provides a way for an individual to earn either a micro credential in the first 2 courses or the full industry recognized credential. And that, we know, credentialing is really important. Oftentimes your students are working to earn a technical credential or a certification related to their specific area of career interest. And now this is the opportunity for them to also earn a credential around employability skills or career readiness skills. When people wonder about the difference between a micro credential and the full industry recognized credential, it's related to the number of hours a student invests. So if you're taking notes, you might have had that same question at the top of your mind. So if you were looking at the exploratory experience, you could anticipate your students spending about 26 hours of seat time. In the fundamental experience, that's about 35 hours of seat time. And in the advanced and adult learner experiences, 45 hours of student seat time. And that includes that students who complete those 2 upper level courses, they come out with a capstone project. And that includes a resume, a cover letter, as well as they will have participated in a 20-question interview with a business partner. So I've just given you a lot of information from kind of a 10,000-foot view, and I'd love to dig a little deeper, but let's pause right here and see what questions you might have about these courses in total from this point of view. Do you have any questions so far about this curriculum? You could drop them in the chat, or you have the ability to unmute yourself on Zoom and to ask that question out loud verbally if that's easier. Want to pause and give time for those of you who might be typing. It will not interrupt me at all. In fact, I love for you to ask questions all throughout. So when that question comes to mind, don't worry about, will I interrupt her? I don't want it to be awkward. You go ahead and wrap that in there in the text, or either unmute yourself to ask that question. Yes, Kay, happy to give some more information specific to exploratory. Let's do that now. You might be curious when somebody like me says an industry recognized credential. You might be curious as to what industries. And so this slide represents our business partners who are standing with us to say that the Skills USA framework represent the right skills for career readiness, as well as they are helping us support our Career Essentials credentials. So hopefully you see some names you know and brands that you trust, and so you can say, oh yes, now I see who is associated with this credential. So some of you, like Kay, might be specifically interested in the exploratory experience. So this is a picture of that cover. You can notice right off the top that the characters are, it's like a watercolor imagery, which we feel like is very appealing for learners at this age. Learners can earn a micro credential when they complete their course, upload all the assignments, and they pass the post-assessment at 80% or better. And that has prompted me to tell you that I didn't mention this in the previous slide, but this curriculum is housed completely online. So that is fabulous if you're not quite sure what next year looks like. And perhaps you're going back to school on site and in person, but you have some plan B ideas in case we have to pivot again. Perhaps you are choosing a hybrid model where some students are in person and sometimes they're virtual. And perhaps you're looking at complete virtual. So I want to let you know this is project-based learning curriculum, all 4 courses, and all 4 courses and all the teacher tools completely available online. It's housed in an online learning management system, okay? In the exploratory experience, there are 4 units. You can see the images of the digital badges. Students earn a digital badge as they complete each unit, and it goes into their online transcript, and they're able to print those off or cut and paste them into another kind of electronic portfolio. And so that's really fun. In addition to the opportunity to pass post assessments and to earn a micro credential, they're getting that opportunity for recognition all along the way as they're earning digital badges. And that's true for all 4 courses. So you can see here the first unit talks about getting ready for your career. So some specifics that you might be interested in. Students actually will take a basic interest assessment, and then based on their responses, it opens up some connections to them as to possible career clusters that they might want to explore. As we know, they're at that age where they're just thinking about these things, and so they might need to do some exploration around different kinds of opportunities that might match their passion and interest. The focus of that first unit is also building relationships and that transition from middle school to high school. And every unit of every course has a unit map. This kind of guides you as the instructor to see what is this course made up of and what are the different learning activities that are included. This gives you kind of a roadmap for what you could expect. And this is the roadmap for Unit 1. And so then this course would also have 1 unit on personal skills, 1 unit on workplace skills, and 1 unit on technical skills grounded in academics. Every unit begins with a kickoff presentation. It's designed to be led by the instructor. About 20 or 30 minutes there. We provide the PowerPoint and the lesson plan, as well as a video. And it's really cool because many teachers are choosing to utilize those videos more than just modeling it for their in-person presentation, but some teachers are actually showing the videos in their classroom, pressing pause for students to talk about some of the information learned. Others are connecting in Google Classroom and showing the video online. And so there's a lot of different opportunities there to incorporate that kickoff video. And then you'll see the triangle represents activities that are e-modules. And then the little image To me, it looks like a paper airplane. I don't know what it looks like to you there, but that looks like an airplane to me, a little paper airplane. And that is the coding that represents a PDF activity. So students are given some instructions about what to do next. So for example, in this survival guide, students create a survey based on concerns they had when moving from middle school to high school, and 8 questions about that transition. And then they're instructed to offer that survey to 3 or 4 people that they know who are transitioning from middle school to high school, and then create a presentation to help those people feel more comfortable. So that's just an example of one of the activities that you would find in the exploratory course. Okay, if you've got some additional questions there about exploratory specifically, I'm happy to answer those, and any others who may be interested in that course, y'all feel free to drop some notes there. Questions in the chat are certainly welcome and appreciated. This is the cover for the Fundamental Experience course, and as you can see, Meredith, she now, our characters in the E-modules, they look older and they're more of a real life character. There are 12 characters who will lead learning through the Fundamental Experience, and they look to be the age of a student 14 to 16. They represent all different pathways, and they represent the diversity that you would expect in your classroom. And again, the opportunity to earn a micro-credential is here in the Fundamental Experience. This course has 9 units, and they, as you look at the names of those bubbles on the screen representing each unit, you might notice, if you're really familiar with the Skills USA framework, that those unit titles are not 17 essential elements. Maybe you're wondering why. That's because each unit is going to address 3 or 4 essential elements, so that by the time a student goes through all 9 units, they have experienced each essential element 5 or 6 times. And so that's building that continuum of learning that we know is important for our students. So the first 3 units are personal skills, the middle 3 units are workplace skills, the final 3 units addressing technical skills. And in Skills USA, we call that a me, we, do philosophy. And so that's the structure of this fundamental experience. Here's an example of a unit map for the fundamental experience. You can immediately see that it's much longer than the one we looked at for the exploratory experience, right? Because these learners are older, so they're digging a little deeper into these concepts and these skill development here. A few things I'll point out that is different from exploratory. In the fundamental, advanced, and adult learner experiences, every unit will begin with a pre-test and end with a post-test. So that means that our learners, in addition to having pre-assessment and post-assessment, bookending the whole course, now we have the opportunity to get data as students are progressing. So more data so that you can see where your students are and check in. There are formative and summative assessments in this curriculum because it is project-based learning. So it's designed with all those project-based teaching elements in mind. You also see the teacher kickoff presentation here. Again, you see e-modules. Again, you see the PDF activities. And so that is certainly a great mix. You see in this reliability unit, 3 essential elements are covered: integrity, responsibility, and professionalism. And so a lot of great opportunities there. One of my favorite activities here, how reliable are you? Students are given 8 criteria on what it means to be reliable, and then they rank themselves, and then they give that criteria to a friend, and the friend ranks them, and then they give it to a mentor. Perhaps that's a coach or their person, they're doing an internship, and that person ranks them on the same 8 criteria. And then students take the results and they evaluate, wow, I thought I was really reliable, but my basketball coach doesn't think I'm reliable because I was late to practice 3 days last week. And my friend Katie doesn't think I'm reliable because I bailed out on her Friday night because I got a better offer to do something with another group of friends. And so now students are learning what reliability looks like. And they do a little writing assignment about how they would change their behavior to match the skills that they want to possess and to show forth that they are ready to work. Dave, great question there in the chat. Can Skills USA be used to complement NCRC work keys? Absolutely, absolutely. So the curriculum is written in such a way, very flexible in terms of how you would implement it. We see different models nationwide. Some people will do Career Essentials about 15 minutes a day, every day. Sometimes it's part of a bell ringer. As students are coming in, they open their device and they get started on their Career Essentials work. Others, it's a rotation in a lab type setting where Career Essentials becomes one of the rotations. Some people will do it one day a week, Employability Skills Friday, and that's where they implement Career Essentials. Others have a standalone course designated to Career Essentials. So lots of different ways that you might think about inserting Career Essentials into your CTE classrooms. And actually, these skills are needed for all students, right? So I shouldn't limit it to a CTE classroom. You could absolutely include this curriculum in any classroom, because what did business and industry say? This is what employees need to be ready. So these are skills good for all of us. So thanks for that question, Dave. It would be a great compliment, This is the cover for the advanced experience, and the advanced and adult learner experiences or courses, use those two words interchangeably. You see them depicted on the same slide. That's because these two courses have identical content. Where they are different is the context. And I thought the next visual might help explain that. Take a look at these characters for the advanced course. They look 17 to 19, look a little older than the character you saw previously, Meredith, and now they're beginning to be dressed for work. That's what we would expect for a learner who's a junior or senior in high school. Now take a look at the learners in the adult model. Definitely visually different, right? And that's going to feel really appropriate for the adult learner. Both of these courses include a capstone project. Both of these courses have the opportunity to earn that Career Essentials credential. And that is when students complete the entire course, upload their assignments, and pass the post-assessment at 80% or better. That's how they would earn the credential. But there will never be a reason for a learner to take the advanced course in high school, followed by the adult learner experience in the post-secondary level. And Marjorie, yes, absolutely happy to share. The seat time for exploratory experience is 26 hours. Fundamental experience, about 35 hours. And for these two courses, advanced and adult, the student seat time is expected to be about 45 hours. That would include the capstone project and any revision, reflection, refining, as well as that mock interview they do at the end. So that 45 hours would be inclusive of the capstone work as well. Okay. Other questions? Keep them coming there. I like this engagement we got going in the chat today. That's super helpful. Here is the example of the images that represent the units in both the advanced and adult learner experiences. So there are 5 units here. They will begin with technical skills from the Skills USA framework. Then they go to personal skills and then workplace skills. And yes, the units are sequential, and that's true for all of the courses. And then the last 2 units in these courses are cross-component. So we've got personal, workplace, and technical skills, all cross-component there. And so learners are older, right? So we begin to take them to a deeper level around those 17 essential elements. Some people wonder, what if I have a learner who did not take exploratory or fundamental, but they're 17? Could I put them in the advanced course and expect them to be successful? Absolutely, you could. Absolutely, you could. And that's really part of the way the courses are structured. They are not a prerequisite to those courses. Okay. This is a unit map. As I mentioned, there is a unit map for every unit of every course, and that gives us a picture of what is happening. You can see that each of the learning activities have the time associated. So Marjorie, in addition to knowing what total seat time is, you could actually look at a unit map and you can see the chunks there. And we know that's really important as part of project-based instruction, right? We need that ability to chunk it, because that's how we decide what it's gonna look like in our classrooms and what our implementation is gonna be. And so I wanna point out one little symbol that's new on this map that you didn't see before. So we still have pre-test and post-test. That's at 10 or 15 questions delivered in an e-module at the beginning and ending of every unit in those upper 3 courses. We still have a kickoff presentation, right? We still have the triangle, which is the play button for an e-module. We have that little paper airplane image that is for the PDF activity, but now we have a new symbol. And this symbol with the airplane and the star, that's telling you that this learning activity is part of the capstone project. So in each of the 5 units of the advanced and adult learner experience, students are creating the components that become the capstone project at the end. And so you can see here in this one unit, this is the unit for initiative. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost missed one, 6 learning activities that would contribute to the capstone. Again, I want to pause because I know that, you know, you're learning a lot about the what Career Essentials is, and you're thinking about your own needs, your why, and how you currently teach employability skills, or your need for an online resource that you could use this fall and spring with so many other unknowns. So I'm going to pause so you might could add some additional questions for the chat before we move forward. I'd love to show you an example of one of the learning activities while we still have a little time in our session today. I'd like to show you an example or two. Okay. This curriculum, because it's housed in an online platform, students have access 24/7, much like they would a digital textbook. So they can access their curriculum from their smartphone, from their Chromebook, from their tablet, or from their computer. So right now, the cost of the curriculum has been deeply discounted, Marjorie. So the fundamental experiences and the exploratory experiences, so those 2 first courses that we looked at, $15 per student for the bundle. And that's, each student has their own access, right? So you purchase it per number of students. And a bundle includes the pre-assessment, full course, and the post-assessment. Those upper 2 courses, advanced and adult learner, that's $20. And so that is for the bundle, and that is the pre-assessment, full course, and post-assessment. And I'm happy to share that price sheet with you in the chat so that you'll know where to find that if you want to look specifically. Those first 2 curriculums, exploratory and fundamental, right now, you could just purchase a segment of those courses if that helps you to be more flexible in your delivery. If those younger 2 courses, you could purchase a segment, and those segments are $5.95. And so I'll share the price sheet so you can dig into all the details on pricing. Okay. All right, other questions? Keep them coming. Great questions today. What else are you curious about when you look at this image and you've now seen sort of that overview before we dig into an example of one of the activities? Katie, you help me keep on time, okay? If I start running out of time, you give me the hold up. All right. So this is an example of an activity that is a part of our advanced and adult learner experience. You see there, it has the little airplane with the star next to it. That tells you it's a capstone contributing assignment. And the essential element that it is teaching and exploring here is self-motivation. And so this is one of the essential elements that we know students need for success. This is a PDF assignment, so students would open their online platform and they would click this assignment, this learning activity, and this is the instruction set that they would receive. And it basically is advising them that they are going to complete this chart that is included there. Initially, they're doing a reflection. So, well, what is my background of experience like? What are the words that describe me? What am I really passionate about? What do I consider my core values? And these are the things that our students are going to insert into this chart. And so each person working to develop their own career plan. And then In the second part of this, they take the knowledge of where I am at present, and now I need to project. So based on what my goals are, what additional things do I need to be doing? What classes do I need to be taking? What certifications should I be pursuing? What kind of skills am I going to need? And I don't have them yet, so I need to pursue an internship perhaps, based on their short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. And so the idea of helping our students to write SMART goals, right? And we've all talked about that probably in our classrooms and throughout our experience, helping students to create goals that are specific and measurable and relevant and time-based and attainable. And so we've got 3 types of goals here that a student will begin to craft as part of this assignment. And this gives them a picture of where they are and where they're headed. Sometimes when I see an example like this, it's a little hard to wrap my head around it. So I thought perhaps you'd like to see an example of some work that one of our students did on this project. So this is in the top half. You can see where they identified where they were at present. And so they had listed their experiences of strengths in communication and planning. They identified things that they were really, that they value personally, charity being one of those, the kindness. So you can see this is a nurturing person. Some things that they were interested in. And then you see there in the middle of this example, the students' career goals. And then they moved to the bottom half of this form where they were identifying their competencies. I couldn't fit it all on one slide, so here we are. Here's the bottom part, right? And this is where they said, I need to gain some additional proficiency. I need some additional knowledge and skill development. And so where am I going to look for that? And then they created an action plan for themselves. And so this is one example of an activity that would be part of the Career Essentials curriculum at that advanced level. So let's get back to the chat, and I'd like to issue out another kind of survey of our audience. When you think about an activity, creating a career plan, how effective would an activity like that be in your classroom? So we're thinking about a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 representing that would be very effective. I could totally see me doing that. And 1, that's not a tool that I would use in my classroom. I'd like to see you insert there in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how effective would an activity like creating a career plan be in your classroom? Yes, Kay says a 10, but she would break it into chunks. I love that about this curriculum. So you get to decide how you're going to implement it as a whole and within each activity. And certainly, isn't there a lot of good stuff in that one activity that you could break apart? Yes, totally agree. A whole session on writing SMART goals, it would be there as an opportunity for you. Others, I'd love to see your feedback on how effective that you envision an activity like this being for you. This is one of our examples. I want to move into another example as our time. I think we got a little bit more time. We can take a look at another example there. I see Katie smiling. I'm going to take that as the go ahead to keep sharing examples. When I go to a training, I want something that's really practical. I want to be able to see what exactly is this, and then I can make the best decision as to how I'm going to move forward. So let's take a look at one more example. This example is called Resolving Workplace Challenges. You can see the essential element that it is talking about there is adaptability and flexibility. So a very important essential element there. And in this activity, students are thinking about a workplace challenge. And so what I love about this curriculum is because students make it personal to their area of career interest. So if I'm a healthcare student, I'm thinking about an issue in health. If I'm a construction student, I'm thinking about a workplace challenge in the construction industry. So they think about the workplace challenge. They could project to their future career, or it could be a challenge they're presently placing at the part-time job they have right now, right? And so they think about what is the challenge, and they work with a partner to come up with some solutions, right? Because we want them to be creative thinkers. And so they think about what are the things that we could do. What are a variety of different solutions? They brainstorm out a variety of solutions, and then the assignment asks them to actually choose which assignment they're going to move forward as a proposed solution to this workplace challenge. And they create the components that would bring that to light. And you can see they are asked to actually present it. So now not only are they creating the solution, but they have to be able to articulate it to others to see if they could gain some buy-in on their solution. And it gives them some opportunities for how this could be done. It could be done using PowerPoint or Excel or a matrix that they design, because we know we have a lot of different learning styles, and project-based learning gives way for us to be able to differentiate based on student style. So recently we had some students who worked on this assignment, and I thought here were some examples that might be interesting to you. Some students in healthcare, they identified the challenge that in their internship, patients were being visited by multiple interns. There was no good tracking system there in the ER for these EMT interns. And so these students developed their solution that they proposed was to have a clipboard at the nurse's station that would list who visited which patient, which room number, and the time, because they didn't want their patients to have that anxiety. Why are so many people coming in here and asking me the same questions, right? In the engineering program, these students brainstormed a way to fundraise. Lack of funding was their issue, so they put forward a fundraising plan, and that was an example there. And in this last one, this was some students who were involved in the food industry, and there was a lack of communication between managers and staff because people were working in different shifts. So the challenges looked different, as well as the response to those challenges. So students created a digital forum. This was their proposed solution that they came and chose, a digital forum whereby the meetings and the solutions would be identified, and then others could access that information to see what was happening on other shifts, as well as how they were solving those challenges. So these are just three examples of some of the work that took place in that project, resolving workplace challenges. So could you envision an activity like that happening in your classroom? We know that there are challenges in the world of work. And as we recalled earlier, critical thinking is important. And sometimes we need to advocate for our own challenges and be able to identify potential solutions. And so this is walking students through the steps of doing this. Yes, Kay, it moves theory to application, and that's because it's project-based learning, right? I do believe that our time is about to get away from us, so I wanted to show you a couple of things. When you visit mycareeressentials.org, this is where the online platform is housed. This curriculum is housed, mycareeressentials.org. When you visit that public dashboard, and I put it there in the chat, when you scroll down to the middle of the screen, you're going to see a tile that says Basic Demo of Experiences. You can click this tile. It will navigate you to our informational website. Our informational website is careeressentials.org. And there are a variety of videos there and brochures and things that you can look at and download. Many of the resources that are available to you through this conference are there at careeressentials.org. When you click Basic Demo of Experiences, you'll be able to choose any of those 4 courses, take a look at an experience map, try on a pre-test, view an e-module, and take a look at some more examples of activities that are included. I showed you 2, but you could take a look at many more there. Also, at the bottom are frequently asked questions. Remember, I told you I'd share where that price sheet is found. About the 3rd frequently asked question is, what is the cost of Career Essentials? And when you click on that question, it gives you the price sheet as well as the hyperlink if you were wanting to print that off for yourself and to share with others. And we would be super excited to help you learn more about Career Essentials. We have a team of coaches that work with Career Essentials, and They help you from purchase all the way to implementation. We provide training for those who might be interested in becoming a Career Essentials certified teacher. And so that's a professional development opportunity to help you feel equipped to implement. I'm actually going to put the link to a survey there for possible next steps. If you think you or some of the folks that you work with on your team would be interested in taking part in a Career Essentials overview, or perhaps actually making a purchase and being part of a deep dive training about 3 hours, we offer those trainings free. Our team of coaches available to help you all along the way. And I'll share one last thing there in the chat. If you'd like to hear what our business partners are saying about the Career Essentials credential, I'm going to share a link to a video that you might like to watch after this session. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long, and it shares business partners like Toyota, 3M, NCCER, sharing how they view the Career Essentials credential. So any other questions before we leave our time today? Or Katie, I toss the ball back to you as to some things that you might close and discuss.
Yeah, awesome. I just put the link to South Dakota Skills USA's website in the chat for you guys as well. So if you have more information or want more information on just what Skills USA is, and want me to link you up with Career Essentials later with Sylvia and her awesome team, anything really, you know, we're here to help. It's a very, very awesome program that I think makes life maybe a little bit easier in this weird time as we all try to go back to school. I'm also, the other part of my job is at Lake Area Tech, so we're also gearing up for students and everything. So I just really want to thank you guys for listening to us today, and reach out for any questions and concerns you guys might have. And I will kind of if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat here, and we can follow up with you after this as well.
Absolutely. If there's anything else you're curious about these 4 courses or something specific, we're happy to help. Happy to help. I know as you think about that virtual environment, it might be appealing to know that these resources are all housed online. And you know, we're happy to provide the support to get your teachers trained and ready to go, and happy to do that. All right. If there are no other questions, I encourage you to click the link to that survey so that we can follow up with you in a way that is appropriate. Katie and I will take those responses, and we'll definitely follow up with you to make sure that you get the support you needed. Lots of great information on Skills USA South Dakota website there. I encourage you to check out all the things that will be happening this fall. And so we're super excited to help you help your students. You're right there on the front lines. So thanks for your good work, and thanks for all the extra time and extra passion that you've been pouring in to meet the needs of your students during this unusual time because of our pandemic. So thanks so much for taking time today to be with us, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.